Hello everyone. Whoops, webcam's not on. There we go. And welcome to another day of NGS action. So today we're going to be in Division C with a game between Hots Chads and Xul Gin Distillery. Sorry, just quickly typing in the lobby. So between the two, with these games, I imagine this will be a pretty close one. I don't know too much about either of these teams. This is Division C. I have not watched any of Division C quite yet this season, I don't believe. But these two teams are only 4 points away from each other. So a win, and especially a domination, can really shake up the standings and really give them a lot more space to be able to either A, break away, or B, be able to catch up. And because of that, I do imagine this is going to be a closer game. I'm really excited to see how it goes. And I'm really excited to kind of meet these players, so to speak, seeing how they play and all that. And overall, it's always exciting watching new teams. But yeah, to be fully on detail, Xul Gin Distillery is slightly above Hots Chads. But right now, it is very neck and neck. Division C right now, other than Heavy Greg, who is by far ahead of everyone else, there is a very, very small amount of points. Between 3rd and 8th place is only 7 maps. And this means that the season's still wide open for anyone. Anyone will be able to get wherever they need to. And Hots Chads is in that 8th place, so they are still behind, but they are definitely not out of it either. As we are getting ready to get into draft, both sides have said they're ready, so it'll just be a moment. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these two teams play, as we are going to be going to Alterac Pass. Now, I haven't really set anything up in terms of getting the maps ready, as I'm still not sure how I want to integrate the voice channel stuff about which map pick, which map ban. If you have any suggestions, ideas, or just overall comments on how you'd like me to do this, please let me know in the chat, or if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, feel free to post it in the comments, or just DM me on Discord on Tokubi. Obviously I'm in the NGS Discord along with everyone else, so any feedback is always appreciated for it. Okay, so we are starting to get into the draft right now, as we go into game number 1 of today's double header, which I've not yet mentioned on this stream, but we are going to be casting 2 different matches. First, we're going to be going with Hots Chads and Xul Gin Distillery for Division C. And then after this, we are going to be going over to the Nexus Division, which I am very excited once again to be able to cast. 2 brand new teams for me, but for now, let's focus on Hots Chads and Xul Gin Distillery. So Tehran, first ban coming out from Xul Gin Distillery, and that's already a little bit of a surprising ban. Tehran isn't the best healer, in my opinion. She's able to output a lot of heals, don't get me wrong, and does have a stun, which is always useful. But the issue is you need a lot of stuff to kind of work in your favor to be able to output that high amount of healing. And in order to be able to land those stuns consistently, you need to either have some other CC, or you need to just be better than your opponent. So it is a little bit of a skill matchup here, but the respect ban definitely coming through. As we also see Samuro and Leoric, both sides continuing with their bans, and Joanna. So Leoric and Joanna, pretty standard, not much to talk about there. But Samuro, especially on Alterac Pass, is able to do a lot of damage, just be a complete pain to deal with. Being able to shove both ways super quickly, very hard to kill, and especially is able to prevent the objective from being taken while at the same time also being able to sneak the objective and capping the horsies. So we see Ragnarok's coming out first for Xul Gin, and then Tychus coming out for Hots Chaz. Now with Tychus picked early, I do wonder a little bit about that. It does let Xul Gin Distillery see they have a Tychus, so they shouldn't pick an HP-oriented tank like Diablo, or possibly even Stitches. Most likely they're going to want to go into a more armor or utility-focused tank. You could even throw Blaze in here, could throw Garrosh in here. Depends really on the comfort of the tank. Muradin is a bit more of an HP tank, but at the same time, Muradin has very high natural regen, has that passive to be able to keep himself up. So very solid pick here as well. And then the Anubarak, a very good anti-mage tank. I'm not really seeing anyone that they'll be able to really abuse with the fact that they have Anubarak. There's no Li Ming. There's nothing really that's very hard to deal with the Anubarak. But at the same time, Anubarak doesn't need to be a counter to be an effective tank. Being able to just throw the Cocoon onto the Murd and onto the Stukov, really any individual member that can have high impact in a fight, just get them away from the first couple seconds of the engagement and use that to win the fight with the uneven numbers. As we do see two more bans coming through, both sides deciding to ban out a global hero, with Falstad and Dahaka banned respectively. Both would be pretty solid choices. And the Chromie Anduin picked up here. So this really kind of reveals what their team comp's going to be. Tychus is going to be one of their strong lane pushers, and Chromie is going to be poking. And with her Time Warp and the Anubarak being able to jump on top of that, if they are able to catch the right person in that ultimate, they should be able to have a guaranteed stun, a guaranteed kill, which kind of necessitates a cleanse on the side of Xul Gin Distillery. And I believe Stukov does not have a cleanse, so Chromie is a very good pickup here. It is one of Stukov's main weaknesses as a healer. He is very, very strong, able to throw out a lot of heals. That AoE silence is very annoying to deal with and could absolutely win fights, but does not have any natural cleanse in the build. Now with the Li Ming and Vala picked up, Vala's good pretty much whenever, though next patch she will be getting nerfed, so I am interested to see how they play. But Li Ming I think is a bit of an interesting pick, especially into the Anubarak. Anubarak is typically picked into Li Ming because being able to throw the bugs everywhere makes it very hard to land the Orbs of Deception. And also the naturalized spell armor. But the Xul, very good pick. Xul Gin picked into Xul Gin's Distillery. Let's see which side is the better Xul as we get into game number 1. Alright, now we are still loading into this game. And Xul being the offlaner is very interesting to me because overall, we are noticing they are a very, very low HP team comp. Anubarak is a little bit more of a shield tank, shield slash armor tank. So not having those high HP bars on either the Anubarak or the Xul does allow them to get kind of blown up. And with the Vala and the Li Ming, there definitely is the opportunity for that. As both teams do seem to be sending all 5 mid. No crazy shenanigans to be seen as of yet. And we do see the Vala did pick the Fire at Will. So it will be a multi-shot build coming out from the Vala, as she is one of the few characters where that has 3 very strong, very viable talent paths. Now DeWitt does go into the bush, but they do catch it. Elisle trying to go with the burrow isn't able to land it. Neither will the Impale. They do get pretty decent damage onto DeWitt, as DeWitt still jumps right in with the Dwarf Toss, but no real engagement coming in. Just a little bit of poke back and forth. And Dequit will have that passive to heal himself up. The Xul, we do see Jeff and Batu, both already going towards their lane. Ankle Shot going to match Jep over on the bot side to catch the wave. As you do see Nutcracker slightly behind, but still able to catch the entire wave on the top. We do have the root coming on to Dewit, but Dewit is a Muradin. Not too much threat there. And Be Fresh and Lead will be taking their camp, as Cyanide and Memmius will be taking theirs over for the side of Hots Chads. So overall, just kind of a trade on the map, but one major difference is Hots Chads sent 3 to kill their camp, and because of that, Ankle Shot is able to get free damage and free push over on the bot side. Those orbs, while Cyanide will be there to pick them up, some of them will have been smaller, so ever so slight XP lead so far going towards Xul Gin Distillery. But Cyanide being on the Chromie will be a talent up, is able to get the talent 2 levels earlier. As we see both of these siege camps starting to group up towards the mid lane. Burrow coming in on to Be Fresh. Root on top of it as well. Impale gonna be dodged out. Lead coming in with the silence. Nutcracker, now it's a 4v3 going in the mid lane, but just gonna be some more damage, some more poke back and forth as both sides kind of try to feel each other out, see where they can go into fights, see where they have to go passive. And Dequid does jump in, gets burrowed on top of Silence coming over on top, but Elile's starting to get pretty low, has to get healed repeatedly by Memmius, and will have that fountain tap to stay full HP. Now, Butter, I'm assuming that's how that's pronounced. I need to ask after the game. But anyway, I'll be calling it Butter for now, or Batu. I literally have no idea how to pronounce that name. We're just going to move on. That's going to catch me off guard every single time. The prisoners are going to be spawning in 15 seconds, as we do see a 4-man push coming over for the side of Hots Chads. They're not able to get a lot of damage, and Dequid kind of in the wrong side of the team takes away half its HP, but Dwarf Toss will be able to get Dewit out. Does have the tap to get back to full HP. As we see Nutcracker shoving out the mid lane, and Lead and Be Fresh once again starting on their siege camp, where Jep is only now starting on the siege camp for the side of Hots Chads. So neither side really trying to push for the objective quite yet. DeWitt going on a little bit of an adventure, starting to move onto the prisoners of Hots Chads. Is going to be getting defended. Stormhammer goes slightly off to the side. Not able to land it there, as they do start attempting to cap it. Hungering Arrow thrown onto Lyle, but with it being the multi-shot build, Hungering Arrow is not going to deal too much damage. And we see all 4 members from both sides here, aside from both teams offlaners. And Memmius takes a lot of damage, and is actually going to be the first blood to go down. Dequid also goes down next to follow, but first blood still going over to Xul Gin's Distillery. Tank for healer, that's a pretty even trade. But with the push already favoring the side of Xul Gin's Distillery, having less people to defend it does benefit the team that has the stronger pushes to begin with. Angle Shot able to shove out the bot lane as Lead gets jumped upon. Lyle body blocking very well. Chromie landing a ton of damage and less than 30 HP left on Lead, but he is able to survive. But with that HP advantage, with DeWitt only now spawning, they are going to try and attempt to start channeling onto the prisoners. But Eliel also not a lot of HP. Multi-shot coming on the entire team. Eliel 300 HP, very low. Memmius only now getting back. Will be able to heal the team up. But here dodges the heal. And DeWitt taking a bit more poke, but they were not able to channel it. So the objective not started for either team, as Jeb gets caught by the Stormhammer, has to get pulled out by Memmius. And we see a 3-person impale. Nutcracker and DeWitt both standing in the front line. Jeb very low. Ankle Shot getting a lot of very strong hits over on the Li Ming, as the camp has been captured. Now, but can they hold it for 30 seconds? Because while I did mention Li Ming is hard to play into an Anubarak, Li Ming is also very good at poking over the wall here. He chooses to stay closer to the bot side, as we do get the knock up on a Nutcracker. Nutcracker just gets absolutely blown up. They're not able to retake the camp either. It's now 4v5. Xul Gin Distillery did take the camp, but here Getting hit in the middle, stunned up, and all the damage going straight onto him. Will get that very delayed but traded kill for Xul Gin Distillery. 2-2 for both sides. As now Xul Gin Distilleries is trying to cap it. Cyanide will be here to get the cancel. As Be Fresh does end up getting the catch. And they do get another stun onto the Chromie, and the Chromie goes down as well. Siege Camp started up by the side of Haas Chats, and maybe they're going to try to use that pressure to keep the push going. Burrow ever so slightly misses D-Hwit. They are able to get some more poke coming out from the side. As the little soldiers here, I don't even know what they're called, are trying to retake the camp, but it does look like the camp will go over to the side of Xul Gin's Distilleries as they get their heroic talents. This is a very strong timer for them to utilize, and they will have all 3 knights going through. Now this heroic talent advantage will only last for a little bit longer. They are catching 2 out of the 3 waves with a big wave on bot side, and this will get them the heroic talent before the knights are able to crash. It's a very good call, grouping up where the CS is, make sure they cannot get out-pushed anywhere. The siege camp will help delay in this mid lane, as they bring all 5 towards mid, and I believe a fight might begin. As you do have Light Bomb onto Lad, Cocoon onto the Muradin. Muradin will be spawning soon. Lava Wave coming through. Stormhammer, now with the level 10, will be able to go through enemies. Taking some poke from Be Fresh, but they're just going to take that free kill. But in the meanwhile, Ankle Shot is getting a lot of value in this bot lane. Being able to get a ton of damage over on this fort. Did take out the wall as well. And on the first objective, as the objectives do scale with time, and we do see Memias kind of getting picked off. D-Wit walking away, decides to tank 1 extra tower shot, but walk away in the safe way. Burrow misses. D-Wit will just walk away. Will they be able to finish off this fort? It is very low. Just a little bit of poke, a little bit more, and with the ultimate, Ankle Shot is able to secure it with the Disintegrate. Overall, they got a lot of value from those knights as they go on to the boss. The side of Haas Chads, I don't think they even guess that this has been started. They are not down any towns. They're simply grouping up. They are grabbing all of their they're grabbing their siege camp, which, while a good play overall, losing the boss is going to be bad for them. And it does. Now the question is Xul Gin Distillery going to push with this boss, or are they going to try to do the 2 boss play? And from their movements on the map right now, it does look like they're going to try to use the pressure from the first boss to grab the second boss. And that is something you see pretty often over on this map. But it seems they've changed their mind and are simply just trying to clear out the siege camp and siege over for that mid lane. Batia is already top, so they will be able to clear out that wave. They are able to clear out this mid wall, as Nutcracker did take the siege camp over on their side. And both sides grouping up again. Decent poke coming out from Xul Gin's Distilleries. Be Fresh, able to help a little bit with the poke as well. And now it's 4 members mid, as, never mind, it's just 3, as Batia starts roaming up for Nutcracker. Nutcracker is starting to poke a little bit onto that, as we do see 2 kills. Sorry for missing that. But we are able to get 2 kills over on the mid for Xul Gin Distillery. And with just that consistent poke with those consistent stuns, as Be Fresh is tanking the tower, gets quite low with that. Lava Wave does move through the entire map. D-Wit going in right away is not able to land the Stormhammer onto Memias, as Memias will root up D-Wit and be able to just walk away. But they're going to continue using this pressure. They have the siege camp. They're not going to be able to get all of it, but they will get a decent amount of damage on the wall as they start up on the second cap of the camp. Now both sides do have their 13 talents, still a full level away for Xul Gin's Distilleries for 16. So this fight will be overall even if they are down 2 levels. As we see the light bulb coming out right onto Lad, and the healer gonna be taken out first. Lad able to survive for a long time, but not long enough. Rain of Vengeance, let's go through. But you're able to get that ultimate up onto everyone. Rain of Vengeance once again onto Lyle. Lyle very low, gets blown up from the back line, but you're still in the middle of everyone. D-Quit very low. They are able to recollect their camp as Commander Odin comes through. Ankle Shot having to teleport away. They are able to get a little bit of pushback, 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day. was a very good pick onto the Stukov. But unfortunately, they do lose their tank in the process. Now, Be Fresh is starting to fight. So is D-Wid. D-Wid once again in the middle of the team. And Disintegrate gets one more player down. Cyanide in the middle of everyone does get pulled over by Memias. But D-Wid is able to run and follow as one more Disintegrate and one more multi-shot able to get the kill. Memias starting to get run down by Be Fresh. Will he be able to survive? No. Memias also gets taken down. Level 16s now for Xul Gin Distillery as they finish off this objective. And they're going to take this top lane fort at the same time. And the boss. They are getting everything right now on the map. Utilizing their advantage, knowing they have the lead, knowing there's 3 dead. They are being greedy, but they are able to take everything right now away from Hots Chads. And this is going to be a very strong push. They have the talent advantage. They have the wave advantage in all 3 lanes. The only possible exception was going to be the mid lane, but the fire wave will come in and be able to help a lot with that. As they are starting to group towards this top side. Orbs starting to come through. Magic missiles also dealing a lot of damage. Allow trying to run in, kind of delaying them, is able to distract them quite a bit. But it won't be able to distract them away from all of the pokes. As the wall is starting to go down. One more cannon tower left. Commander Odin coming out. Cocoon onto the Muradin. They are clearing it out. Disintegrate from the backline. Forced to cancel it early to teleport. Dequid dwarf toss into the middle of everyone. Jep very low. Light bomb on top, but will die before the light bomb does go off. The boss is still dealing a ton of damage to this keep. It is a 1-for-0 so far. Butyu kind of stuck. Disintegrate and the orb dealing half of Butyu's health. They are able to take the keep. Time stop onto the Vala, but no follow-up yet. And they are trying to go for the end, but this is a very tough objective to try and finish off when you only have 1 keep. However, they are able to take away the Anubarak. Spin to win from the core, and Be Fresh almost goes down. Has to get the healing over from Lead. They are still trying to DPS Lead, starting to get very low. Cyanide able to push them away. Disintegrate trying to come through. Just a little bit of health left on the core, but the core is able to heal up just a little bit. They're trying to zone away, letting it heal up. Be Fresh dies, but they are able to finish the game. 13-minute win to Xul Gin Distillery. And that was one big team fight. And from there, Xul Gin Distillery able to absolutely utilize the fact that they had the advantage and they took everything. They split up very quickly. They were very well organized, where they just had D-Wit finishing off the objective. They've already tapped it. They just needed him to hold it. And then Be Fresh was taking the tower while the rest of the team went to kill that boss. And with that boss kill, they were able to really abuse the amount of pressure on the map with a talent advantage. And with a couple more picks and a couple more very well-aimed orbs by Ankle Shot, Xul Gin Distillery was able to take that first map. Now we're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll be in game number 2. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we are back with the draft for game number 2 between Hots Chads and Xul Gin Distillery. We are going over to Infernal Shrines, so it is going to be interesting to see who's able to come out on top over on this map. Now, while Xul Gin Distillery was able to close that game out very quickly, I would definitely not say that it was a one-sided match. There was a lot of kills going back and forth. It's just that the final team fight, Xul Gin Distillery, was able to get so much value out of one single team fight victory. And they were able to push it in all the way to end the game. So I don't expect this to be a super quick game again. We may have to see. It is very possible that that will happen again. But I'm going to hope for a close game. I love seeing two strong teams fight it out with as much fighting as possible. Now, to start getting into the bands, we do have Toronto band again, as well as the Chromie this time from Xul Gin Distillery. So they decided they do not want to deal with that again. As Stukov and the Joanna both banned away from the sides of Hots Chads. So Joanna, once again, was the same band as last game, but the Stukov is new. They decided that that silence was way too annoying to deal with. And we see Tychus picked up for Be Fresh. So very interesting play. So very interesting change in terms of the draft this time around. Last game, they were able to have the Tychus over on the side of Hots Chads, but the Leoric was not banned this game and is instantly picked up by Hots Chads as their very first pick. Their second pick coming out shortly with the Vala. So two very high priority, very high power heroes getting picked up for Hots Chads. Now, I wonder what the response is going to be. They can match the offlaner. They already see Leoric. So if they want a easier matchup, they can already pick it now and kind of hide what they're doing later in the draft. Alternatively, if there's a couple characters they know they definitely want, that would be the time to pick it. And they do go for Falstad Diablo. Both very strong heroes, Falstad with that global, and when you have the Tychus, you don't really need to worry about picking Diablo. Now, Vala will be able to get that Mana Core talent later on into the game, but until then, Diablo is going to be a very, very difficult frontliner to beat. And even when she gets it, she still has to be in auto attack range to proc it, able to get 3 autos off, one after the other. But if she's in auto attack range, that means Diablo's in charge range. And that's going to be a very difficult and very scary balance to keep. But with proper peel, with proper positioning, this Vala will be able to absolutely destroy Dequid. Now we do see Muradin and Ragnaros both banned out right now. Muradin banned from the side of Xul Gin Distillery. Another good tank. Tychus is able to burn the HP rather quickly with that minigun, but they decided they just don't want to deal with it. It's a very easy combo with the Anduin as well, as we did see the Hots Chads does play the Anduin. They don't want to give them that easy light bomb combo. And in fact, they do shift a little bit by picking Mei and Brightwing. And this is very different from what they played last time. Overall, they were low on HP, and that's definitely something they fixed, both Mei and Leoric. A lot tankier than their previous combo of Anu Barak and Xul. So they're going to have a very solid front line, and Mei's also able to go unstoppable going into that ice block. And Diablo cannot move her, and no one else can either. With the Falstad Gust, nothing. She'll be able to stay as a very solid frontliner for the team. And now Deckard and Tassadar, so we are seeing a 3 DPS lineup, no bruiser from Xul Gin Distillery. I would assume Ankle Shot was the mage player last game on the Li Ming, so I'm assuming that that's going to be Tassadar going over into the offlane versus the Leoric. Leoric shouldn't be able to pressure the Tassadar too much. Tassadar does have a lot of range, very fast wave clear. But it is interesting. This is a very different look coming out really from both teams, as we see the Gul'dan picked as the 10th and final lock-in for Hots Chads. Looking at these two drafts, it's hard to pick. I'd say it's a pretty even draft. they're both very different, but it's the case of there being a lot of squishies on Xul Gin Distillery. But at the same time, if the Gul'dan isn't touched, he can definitely blow all of them up. As we get into map number 2. And we are back with map number 2 between Hots Chads and Xul Gin Distillery. Not noticing anything super different quite yet. Both sides just kind of grouping up towards their mid. Jep's still in the base. And Befresh and Led also going to be coming out shortly. And it does seem like, once again, both sides are just going to group 5 mid. And we do see the Falstad did get swapped over to Nutcracker, so it will be the Falstad in the off lane. Both sides now going to group mid. Tychus is a little bit behind, so they're just going to slow down and wait. They're not going to push for the pressure. They will have to give brush control for this, as D-Wit gets Polymark in the middle of the team. Forced to use the charge to get out, but with the ice block there, able to get pulled back though. Lyle very low, and in fact does get blown up. The phase shift not able to come out in time, and first blood going to Xul Gin's Distilleries. That's a very big first blood to get. Typically, when you have those mid-fights, you do try to feel each other out, see who's able to make the play. And while it definitely looked like the Diablo was the first to get caught, you do see D-Quid fighting onto Jeff, able to get the wall and the body block onto Jeff. And Memi is also going to get rooted up. He forced to use the cleanse, but will be able to walk away. And that's 2 kills in less than 1 minute for Xul Gin Distillery from the start of the game. They're already pressuring very fast and very hard. They have 2 kills. They're able to get the lane shoved in. As they do stun Elio into the wall, able to throw another wall into there. And Elio already getting very low. Ice block, able to take away some of that damage. But Memias and Elio both very low. And with that, they know they have the HP bars. They're going to get that siege camp as their prize. Elio already has the HP back, but will get stunned once again. And will just end up going down completely on their own. And that's 3 kills now going to Xul Gin's Distillery. Hots Chads will take their siege camp, as the bot side siege camp will go over to Xul Gin's Distillery. But Xul Gin's Distillery also have their own siege camp available, as D-Wid will start moving towards it and will start it up right away. Let him be fresh will help out with this camp, as Ankle Shot will try and clear out the siege camp that is currently pushing over in the mid lane. So overall, 2 camps to 1, 3 kills to 0 for Xul Gin's Distillery. Slowly but surely amassing a lead. And we see Nutcracker versus Batyr. And one main advantage Batyr will have here is that Batyr will be able to clear these waves a lot faster. Falstad definitely struggles with wave clear, especially early on before he gets that hammerang stacked up. So up until that point, that could be a point of advantage that Hots Chads could try to utilize. As Cyanide does get knocked back into their team, able to get healed up by Memios as the stun does come out of D-Wit, but just a decent chunk of damage going through on them. They do need to recheck Shadow Charge and Overpower. Do need to recheck the ability names time to time. Still a lot of trading happening, and the altar will be spawning in 10 seconds. No town advantage quite yet. A little less than half level advantage for the side of Xul Gin's Distillery. So they may end up being a level advantage during this, but we will have to see. Now Lyle able to get the knockback on a D-Wit just for a little bit of poke. Memi is very low on mana. Doesn't seem like they're able to tap quite yet. We do see the ice field coming out. Or the blizzard coming out for the Mei. And they're able to get the stun onto Lyle once again. They're dealing a lot of damage. Lyle will be able to get away, but again, the HP bars just aren't there for Hots Chads. They're going to be throwing as the Spectre Walk will go away, but you're still taking damage in the back. Very low HP, just a few more auto attacks, and they are able to get another kill for themselves. And with that, they may be able to secure themselves a lot more of these skeletons in order to summon the Punisher. As Lyle goes in once again, but not enough HP this time around. Cyanide trying to shove, but no mana left. Hammering will go slightly off to the side, as the Lightning Rod will be poking onto Cyanide, but at the same time, Nutcracker taking a lot of damage, very low HP. A Shadow Charge will come in from Bathieu, as well as the Overpower. And as soon as Bathieu spawns, goes down once again. 6-0 for Xul Gin Distillery, and this is a slaughter. They took the momentum they had in game number 1, and they instantly brought it to game number 2. As now they are taking the wall, and they're not even really defending. They're trying to gain XP across the map. We'll take the jump onto Lyle, but Lyle gets jumped on right away. A Cleanse coming out as well. The fort is still there. Lyle and Memias both alive. But typically on the first Punisher, you just want the wall. Being able to get the fort as well, and potentially even another kill onto the healer. 7-0 for Xul Gin Distillery. They are getting so much value out of this game, and they are already at a level and a half lead at 5 minutes into the game, and they're knocking on the keep wall. They do have the Frozen Punisher, and the Punisher is doing a lot of damage over to Cyanide, trying to run in, but does get tired halfway through the chase. Cyanide will survive, but they get the bot side wall, they get the bot side fort, and half the HP on the keep wall, as my voice does crack from the sheer excitement of it all. Now Nutcracker able to shove out this mid wave as well, gets the gate down, and is also able to get the cannon tower down a little bit. But Ankleshot taking a lot of damage. The Overpower will peel a little bit away from by D-Wit, but D-Wit also at a quarter HP. They do see the Blizzard come out, and that stun is going to get D-Wit, so D-Wit does go down here as well, as we see a 4-man root coming out from Lead. That is the Scroll of Sealing coming out, able to prevent any more chase, but they are able to finally get the first kill on the side of Hot's Chats. So they're not completely out of it. They are still able to show some signs of life during all of this. And in fact, they will also potentially be able to get themselves that second siege camp. And with every extra camp that they're able to finish off, it'll bring the game just that much closer. But D-Wit does not want to give it away. Coming in, but D-Wit is on their own, trying to delay for the team. The Apocalypse does come out, as they do have the heroic talents. But level 10 did just come out. The D-Wit will go down. They do have the Magnetic Storm coming through. But they're also overstaying as well. Cyanide is on the backside. Gus throwing into the wall, but B-Fresh taking a lot of damage. There is the Fear coming through, and Nutcracker also going to go down. And the siege camp is taken. And if you look at the XP, Hot's Chad is back in the game, and they are in the lead. If they are able to just get this wall and get this fort, even the map pressure is evened out. What a huge way to come back into this game. Now Memias and the rest of the squad are now starting to push onto this fort. Be Fresh and Lead trying to poke them away, trying to prevent this fort from going down. And it does seem like they will be able to, as D-Wit is now back to help clear them away and zone them out. So they won't be able to balance out the map state. They will always have a slight free push in the bot lane for Xul Gin's Distillery. But getting the XP away from that level and a half lead is massive. That fight, being able to ding level 10 in the middle of D-Wit's engage, as we do see the Overpower into the Shadow Charge into Lyle, and Lyle just gets absolutely blown up by Xul Gin's Distillery. They are starting to walk in to the mid lane, and there's no tank. The Shrine is activating 30 seconds. Lyle will be back up in time for that, but will not be back up in time to help defend this Bruiser camp. And that's just going to have to be what they end up losing for that kill. They're going to kind of give away all the pressure on the top side, and they're going to try and take this bot side fort in the meanwhile. Jep throwing as much damage as possible. Cyanide just rolls straight into the fort. They're DPSing, trying to keep Cyanide alive, and Nutcracker does get here. Will Cyanide go down? No, it is able to stay alive, but Phase Shift having to be used. That is a very big cooldown to use before the fight begins. It is a 40-second cooldown, so it's not the longest. However, we do see Xul Gin Distillery is starting to shove it on the top side. They're able to get the wall. They're not able to get the actual fort. And the Bruiser camp did go down to the tower and to Butcher in the meanwhile. We do have the Ice Wall. Only lands onto D-Wit. As a Shadow Charge misses, we do have the Entomb landing onto no one. Apocalypse also landing onto no one, but the Terrify landing onto 3. And B-Fresh is starting to get low, but in the meanwhile, Ankleshot does get picked off the Tacitor, but Eliel also gets Shadow Charged into the team. Cyanide very low, Eliel very low. HP bars may actually be on the side of Xul Gin Distilleries, but Memias is there, able to passively heal up the team. And Bachir is looking for a way to fight. They do get a lot of Pokemon to lead as Commander Odin comes in for Be Fresh. A Scroll of Sealing not able to land onto anyone as the Wraithwalk is able to get Bachir away from there. The Blizzard does come out and Be Fresh on the wrong side of the team. Polymorph to very low HP, but the Gust is able to get him away. But no, the Gust is not enough as Jep is able to land a ton of damage over to finish that off. And just as Angel Shot does come back, they lose their other DPS. And that's where the lack of HP on their team kind of starts coming into play as Cyanide gets hit. But there is the Ice Wall and the Cleanse for Cyanide. Ice Wall into the Entomb, and Lead is kind of caught out, and that is their healer. The healer is gone. Lyle trying to tank for the team, but unfortunately not able to take the tower aggro quite yet. And they're going to get another kill over on Elias. So now the pressure has definitely started coming up to the side of Hots Chads, as they have almost a full level lead, and they should be able to secure this Punisher. They will have to send someone back to deal with this wave down here. And it doesn't seem like they did send anyone back. I thought Memias was going to go there. I saw that they hearth, but seemed to use the phase shift to get back into the fight immediately. The Mortar Punisher is able to deal a lot of damage, not as much utility as the Frozen Punisher did have. But look at that DPS. It's absolutely wrecking them with the mortars. Polymorph onto them. Eliel able to use the Ice Wall, or sorry, the Ice Block to stay alive. And a stun onto DeWitt. DeWitt does get hit by the Ice Wall, and there's a 3-person Ice Wall. And in fact, we do see 2 kills coming out just from the Mortar Punisher. Be Fresh also taking a lot of damage, and one more hit, and that's going to be 4 down. We did see the Falstad going down somewhere here. It was able to take the wall, but does trade his life for it. And that's 4 for 0 for the side of Hot Chads. What started as a 7-0 for Xul Gin has turned into a 12-8 in terms of kills. Hot Chads able to maintain their mentals, maintain to keep their cool. They were able to come back with that, as the hammering does deal a lot of damage onto Memias. Memias very low. Blizzard coming through on a Nutcracker. Multi-shot throwing onto Lead. Stay a while and listen. It does get thrown out. And the Apocalypse and the Magnetic Storm. I've called that ability maybe 7 different names. It is Black Hole. It's not even close. Well, the Black Hole does also go off to the side. Many ultimates used, not a lot landed from that. However, they were able to push them away from the keep. And the keep is still relatively healthy, having not really taken any poke at all. Just a little bit of a love tap. And now the pressure does go away from both sides. There is a talent advantage right now for Hots Chads, but that will go away soon. They do start on their Bruiser Camp, but decide, you know what? Let's deal with this mid lane pressure first. There is no objective up right now. We do not need that camp pushing right now, as we do have the Shadow Charge into the Overpower onto Jep. And Jep will get caught in the Scroll of Sealing, but in the meanwhile, Entomb on top of everyone with the Fear, with the Ice Wall. The Gust will push them back, but Lead still dies. D-Wood still low. Be Fresh, trying to deal as much damage as possible. But D-Wood also gets taken down. And Cyanide is not done chasing. Cyanide trying to run in through the tower. Won't be able to kill Be Fresh, but also will not get punished for that aggressive maneuver. And Hots Chads, once again, 3 for 0. And they have a massive wave on the bot side that they have been stacking. And they're going to push straight through the wall. And it doesn't seem like they're planning on ending there. They want to keep pushing. Be Fresh, trying to hearth in front of them, but will have to cancel it. And the Commander Odin will come out, trying to use it to zone out the wave, trying to clear it as fast as possible. Getting a decent amount of harass onto Nutcracker, and that keep will go down. A little bit of a delay, not sure if they wanted to fight, but they decided to go with the smart play and just back out. They do not have the talent advantage, and they no longer have the numbers advantage, and the position would be very, very difficult for them to play in. Memias just decides, you know what, I don't like that wall, we're just going to destroy that wall. Brightwing is the creature for meaningless destruction, if you know your lore, which I do not. Now Memias does get overpowered and thrown back into the wall with a Shadow Charge, being able to get the stun, and this time will not be up in time for this shrine. So that is a kill going back to Xul Gin Distillery, and that might be a pretty solid way for them to contest this shrine. They do not have level 20s quite yet on Hots Chads, but they are very close. If they're able to collect just a little bit more XP here, they might even be able to contest 4v5, even without the healer. But instead, they decide to push for that bruiser camp. They know that Memias, as soon as he's up, will be able to phase shift on top of them, as they have their level 20s now. They leave Nutcracker to fight it off solo, as they do push for that top keep, but D-Wit already there, overpowered, and Entomb with the silence now at level 20. The ledge just kind of gets picked off in the middle of the enemy team, trying to go for that Stay a While and Listen, but not able to get it. Ice Wall thrown down. No one's going to get hit by it. And just like that, it's 4v5 once again, but for the opposite number. Memias comes in with a phase shift, able to heal Lyle back to full, and they might be pushing to end the game here. I'm very curious to see if they're going to continue with this. Commander Odin is being used. They try to use the ice charge, but not going to get a lot. Apocalypse landing on him. Many. Be Fresh is still dealing a lot of damage. They are fighting underneath the keep next to the core. Nutcracker going to deal a little bit of poke damage back. Allow trying to push, but they definitely do not have the ability, as they do collect onto the healer. Memias knocked back into the rest of the team, is able to jump away. And Cyanide is going to grab one more kill onto the backside. Phase shift onto Jep, and with that extra pickoff, they're like, you know what? We can try and push for the core. But in the meanwhile, the Punisher is pushing the bot lane, and this is an Arcane Punisher. Arcane Punisher is probably the best in terms of just raw push. And they do get the Stay a While and Listen. They do cancel, but here, very low on HP. Memias trying to keep them alive, and Memias gets caught once again with a Shadow Charge, trying to jump away. But in the meanwhile, the Entomb does kill the Tychus over on the top side of the map, but still anyone's push. They do decide to give up on this pressure. And while they were able to get a lot of kills, they were not able to get the core. They were not even able to get any poke damage onto it. And the Arcane Punisher will trade back this bot side core. So overall, well defended by Xul Gin Distillery. I do admire that Hodgepodge was looking for it. They knew they had the timer of the Storm Talents, and they knew that if they got 1 or 2 picks, they would win the game there. They're okay to trade that keep for the chance of a guaranteed win. So even though it didn't work out, I do think that was a good call. It was a very solid attempt to play. I just need a slightly better execution, and they definitely would have been able to take this map home. But anyway, getting back onto the live game, Hots Chad still over level 20. They do still have the advantage, and Xul Gin Distillery does not have their Storm Talents. There's only 1 lane left, 1 cannon tower, and 1 keep. And really comes down to who's able to get the first pick. And D-Wit right now only on 75 souls, so does not have that extra revive. Oh wait, sorry. It is 75 souls to revive, so never mind. D-Wit does have that near instant revive. Will not be the same HP. Will definitely be a lot squishier. However, being able to get that extra Apocalypse off is going to be big. And that is one thing Xul Gin Distillery do have in their team composition that they haven't really been able to show off yet. They've gotten multi-people Apocalypses. They've gotten multi-people Stay a While and Listens. They have not gotten one into the other and then been able to really follow up and set up on those big multi-people ultimates. Led coming in, use the Scroll of Sealing, trying to delay this push as they do hit their level 20s. And Dehuid does go for the blink. And Dehuid is getting ready. They do seem to be looking. Nutcracker getting decent amount of poke. And the cannons and the siege wave will be able to get some damage done onto this keep, but they will not be able to destroy it. But Hots Chats, they don't really need to pressure. What they can do is they can just stay here, keep the waves shoved in all 3 lanes, and once the shrine spawns, send 1 person back to take it. And it's going to be very difficult for Xul Gin Distillery to do anything about it. With the waves being naturally pushed on all sides, they will need to go back and they will need to clear those before they can really start grouping and trying to utilize their pressure. And be able to contest and try and start a fight. Nutcracker gonna get a little bit more poke down at 83 stacks onto the Hammerang. As a little bit more poke does come down onto their keep. Still not a lot, as Lyle does get Shadow Charge, but no follow-up onto that. Entomb barely misses as the teleport does come out, and that's a very large cooldown being taken away. As the ice wall comes back, lands onto one. Are they able to follow it? Ankle shot does get stunned by the Rain of Vengeance, but the Gust is able to protect him. But no, the Main is able to get the extra damage, and 3-person stunned with the Apocalypse. So it is a 4v5 in favor of the Hots Chads, and they're going to try and push down this keep. They only have one cannon creep left, one cannon minion. But as that is going to go down. But yeah, now going to start the shrine. They're going to start collecting their skeletons. In that time, the Tassadar will be able to respawn. But with this shrine being in the mid lane, they're almost guaranteed going to be able to get this keep if they are able to get this Punisher. But it doesn't look like Xul Gin Distillery want to allow it. They're looking to fight this. It is 4v5 as the Commander Odin even utilized here. Very early, kind of committing to the fight already. D-Wit looking for the fight. Does get onto Lyle. Lyle able to use the ice block to stay alive. And multi-person. Oh, but the ice wall gets stacked onto the Entomb. The Entomb isn't able to get full value of the stun, but Led getting chased down by Cyanide. Lyle is able to get D-Wit, but D-Wit did have the souls, is respawning right now. They're still trying to use the Commander Odin as the Commander Odin does expire. But they got the Punisher. It's a Mortar Punisher going into this mid-keep with minions absolutely flooding the base as the leap does get on top of D-Wit. Gets polymorphed, is able to get healed up, but already at half HP. But are they going to be able to end? This is a very strong end push for them. 20 minutes into the game, they're not going to have a lot of damage. If they are trying to fight, and they are, Cyanide gets jumped on top of. We do see the teleport coming out. The Hellgate doesn't go through. Apocalypse is used. Apocalypse doesn't land onto anyone. It is still 4v5 in favor of the Hot Shots. They are pushing onto this base. D-Wit trying to do everything to keep the base alive. The Mortar Punisher is too much, but here does go down. But in the meanwhile, the core is also going to go down. And Hot Shots takes us to map number 3. And with that, that is the second map going away. And we're going to a game number 3. And that is absolutely my favorite way to watch a series. No domination going to be coming out here, so we're not going to see any drastic moves coming out in the standings. But this is still quite large, quite a massive victory coming out for Hots Chads. And this was a very back and forth game. Xul Gin Distillery had a very, very solid lead going early. And I'm wondering if we're able to see... No, there aren't any graphs for this. I do need to try and get all that information set up in the future. I know they do have a tool for that for NGS casters. But that was an absolutely insane game. Congratulations to Hots Chads being able to pick up that game number 2. And when we come back, we're going to be going to the final map number 3 to see who's going to win this game for Division C. Welcome back, everyone, as we do go into map number 3 between Hots Chads and the Xul Gin Distillery. Huge shout out to Irikaf. I believe, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, please let me know in the chat. Thank you for the raid. And for those of you that don't know, Irikaf is also a caster for NGS. And we'll be doing another cast later tonight. We are both doing double headers today, I believe. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Look at the matchup, see which game you'd want to watch, and be sure to check it out. But anyway, going into the picks and bans. So we do see Chromie and Stukov once again. After game number 1, neither Xul Gin nor Hots Chads want to play against that anymore. They saw how annoying it was. They saw how much pressure they were able to put out with it, and said no more. Now Anduin also going to be banned away from the side of Xul Gin Distillery. And the Joanna coming out from Hots Chads. Those two pretty standard bans. Not really targeted. The Anduin was picked by Hots Chads. We did see Memias playing it in game number 1. And was able to get a lot of good pulls to safety. And just being able to keep the team alive longer. You tend to go by Raka. It's easier to say and cuter to boot. Alright, Raka. Works for me. Now the Tyrande. This is the first game Tyrande was not banned. Last time they went with... And Tyrande is going to be picked up by Led. So I'm very curious to see. What was it about Tyrande that both sides wanted to ban it in both those games? Now we do see Val and Leoric. Same exact picks from Hots Chads. No need to fix what ain't broken. But this time the map is a little bit different. Instead of the... Shrines of Eternity, we are on Volsky Foundry. A little bit of a smaller map, and the fights do tend to last decently long. And we do see Li Ming and Garrosh picked up from Xul Gin Distillery. Ankle Shot was able to deal so much damage to Li Ming and was genuinely one of their big wins in order to get the first win for them in map number 1. As do see the ban starting to come through. Ragnarok's banned away by Hots Chads. And I am very curious about this Garrosh pick. I think it's very strong on this map. One hard thing with Garrosh sometimes is positioning in a way where you don't accidentally end up tossing away a creep. You don't end up tossing a minion or a summon. But on Sky Foundry, there aren't any skeleton spawns. The objectives are just absolutely nice, clear plains of spaces. And that is something that Garrosh absolutely destroys in. The next ban was the Anubarak coming out from Xul Gin Distillery. Like I said, Anubarak very good into Li Ming. Ankleshot was able to play into it in game number 1, but they did pick the Li Ming into the Anubarak. But this time, they knew they had the ban, so they just got rid of Anubarak, so they do not need to deal with it. Tassadar and Oriel picked up by Hots Chads. So a lot of poke coming out from Tassadar as well. And with the black hole, they are going to have crowd control and just a really easy way to shove everyone off of the objective. Being able to keep onto that objective point is going to be really big for them. And I think it's something. I think Tassadar is a very solid pick here, especially with the Li Ming having a lot of range and a lot of poke. It's good to be able to match it. Now we're going to see Malthael and Xul Gin picked up as the final 2 picks for Xul Gin's Distillery. Malthael is very good into Leoric. Malthael's going to deal percent max health damage, and then with the ultimate will be able to execute based on missing health. Now Leoric has a huge health bar. A little bit of a drain tank. Not a lot of armor, but a lot of health. And Mal'Ganis picked up by Hots Chads, and with that skin, you know it's on the right team. That is an absolute Chad pick going into map number 3. Now, before we go into map number 3, I would like to quickly shout out. Tonight will be a double header. I will be casting a game from the Nexus division coming up at 8 p.m. Pacific, so in about an hour. And I'd also like to do a quick shout out to AFK Journey for sponsoring this stream. And with that, the shilling is out of the way. Almost. As we go into our final little ad, but this one you'll enjoy. as we do go into game number 1. Both sides have everything to gain and everything to lose upon winning this game. Div C is neck and neck, all the way from 3rd place all the way down to 8th. It's anybody's game to be able to get onto this next set, to get into the playoffs and potentially still going for that championship slot. Both of these teams are definitely still in it.
3, 2, 1. Commence combat.
Now they are starting to group over towards this mid lane as they do get hit by the Tehran ability. Always got to look out for that when there's a Tehran in the game. Lyle gets thrown back and instantly taken down to about a quarter HP. Maltho, trying to get as much damage, is going to be able to run away using those fell claws. He's a very strong tank, but one thing he lacks is a strong ability to engage, and that kind of is the weakness of Mal'Ganis, as gets shoved in by D-Wood once again, trying to get away, but this time very low HP, still trying to get healed. Memi is able to keep Elio alive, and Nutcracker ends up taking a lot of damage too. But as Be Fresh, already able to get 4 stacks onto that quest is very big for a Xul Gin. And D-Wood able to once again throw him over the shoulder, and now Jeb's going to be taking a lot of damage. And Oriel trying to keep him alive, but Ankle Shot will be able to land those magic missiles over behind, as D-Wood is just constantly getting those ground shatters. The sleep comes out, no follow-up. A Groundbreaker and Wrecking Ball. Sorry, as I am still trying to learn these abilities. And once again, the Wrecking Ball does come out. Not enough mana, but you don't need the mana when you can just use your DPS to get those kills. And Elio also very low. And once again, Xul Gin Distillery able to go with a very quick lead in the early game. And it's the 3rd game in a row they've been able to get a lot of free and quick kills. We do see a lot of XP kind of missed in this mid lane over by the Hots Chads, and they're once again down almost a full level at 2 minutes. Now last game they were able to bring it back once the team fights began, but it is a little bit concerning to see that Xul Gin Distillery is able to pressure them off, as they do in fact take the elite support camp. I saw them on that part of the map, but I thought they were just trying to get set up to push out their waves. A very solid pickup by Xul Gin Distillery. They didn't have a talent lead. That was purely a macro move from them that was able to get them that. As the fortification camp does go over for the side of Hots Chads, and Xul Gin Distillery is currently taking theirs, but Elio already walking in D-Quit, trying to stay near the walls, but the turret will get taken and picked up by Be Fresh, as Led holds on to the healing beacon. Ankle Shot trying to DPS onto those. Onto that siege camp. Not going to be able to get too much. We'll be able to throw down the orbs. Once you get that first one away, Li Ming will be able to DPS these pretty fast. Trying to use those teleports, as both sides will take their siege camps almost at the exact same time. But they are waiting just a little bit on the side of Hots Chads. Potentially hoping to have it spawn a little bit later so they can utilize the pressure. But here it does take a decent bit of damage. A little bit of harass coming out from Xul Gin Distillery. And both sides starting to kind of group towards the top side. Cyanide and Elio trying to get as much damage. As they do get the wall, they are able to use the Wrecking Ball onto Lyle. But Lyle not going to take too much damage quite yet here. The objective is still being taken, but you're trying to zone out LED. But Led is just going to get a lot of damage. The Groundbreaker not going to land quite yet. And forced to use the Wrecking Ball as safety. And they do knock D-Wood into the wall. D-Wood trying to stay alive. Just a little bit of help left, but no, will get taken down. And that's for the first kill going over the side of Hots Chads. The healing beacon and the tower and the turret placed by both teams. As both turrets are taking a lot of DPS. Both of them are going to go down. And they get a lot of damage on Lead, and in fact will go down. Second kill over for the side of Hots Chads. And like I said, once the team fighting comes in, the Hots Chads really show what they can bring. So, 81% for Xul Gin Distillery. Now hitting 30 for Hots Chads. But everyone is now up once again. So, both teams can contest this. They're going to try and hold it as long as possible. They're definitely... Oh, as I say that, the Wrecking Ball does come out onto Loud. B-Fresh is hitting some auto attacks over in the backline. Already at 13 stacks. Those spinning axes hitting a lot of people. D-Wit gets knocked up while not able to block them away. D-Wit just gonna keep walking right into the team. Knows he has a lot of armor. He does use the Wrecking Ball. As the Detainment Strike does not know D-Wit. D-Wit's starting to get low. Has to use Insolvable. But Nutcracker's in the middle of the enemy team, and he does die, but he does take their healer in the meanwhile. And Ankle Shot able to get a lot of damage as Jep able to get so much harassed down from the backline. With all those kills, they will not be able to continue. They do not have their tank. They do not have their healer. It's very difficult to be able to hold on to the objective with such conditions, really. Ankle Shot now healed back to full by Lead. And the mech will spawn the Triglav Protector. Bateau trying to slow it, trying to deal some damage on it. As they are going to get onto that wall. And they're able to explode this wall very quickly. B-Fresh to actually take a lot of damage from Bateau. And Cyanide also running in on that. Bateau gonna use the Rate Strike, trying to get a little bit closer. But they do get the sleep onto D-Wit. D-Wit is knocked up. Will be able to use the Groundbreaker, but will die in the process. So does trade his life a little bit for the B-Fresh. As B-Fresh is able to throw a lot more auto attacks onto the enemy. They're now moving over to this top wall. But this mech doesn't have a lot of HP left. Will blow up soon. But should be far enough away that they're able to walk back safely. They do get the sleep on Lead. In fact, Lead is stuck on the wrong side of the wall. But Elio also taking damage from B-Fresh. B-Fresh trying to auto attack as much as possible on the Bateau. Cyanide does get the stun as both sides are now level 10. Taz Dingo coming out. And Ankle Shot just teleporting around the map. 1 kill, 2 kill. Will Ankle Shot try to get Memios? No. Will get hit into the wall. 9 to 5 kills for Xul Gin Distillery. And at the same time, Nutcracker is just shoving out this bot side. And D-Wit also able to shove away this mid. There is a lot of missed soak right now for the side of Hots Chads. And this is where the game could start blowing up. We have seen before that if Xul Gin Distillery is able to get a good macro lead, they are able to really utilize it. As D-Wit sees Bateau, just kind of interrupts it, slows it down. And Nutcracker is actually going to try and fight him. They do get the taunt on D-Wit, but there's a few more members from the side of Hots Chats here. As they do hit onto, but Bateau ends up dying first. Nutcracker able to use that ultimate, and that's why you pick Melthiel into Bateau. Because if you are able to get away that those last rights, you will be able to deal a lot of damage. As you do get the knockback onto Jep, but Jep is able to heal away. And the Black Hole getting onto 3. Nutcracker very low HP. D-Wit on top of everyone. But there's just too much damage coming out from the side of Hots Chaz. And just like that, a 4 for nothing. And maybe a 5 for nothing. Absolute ace coming out for Hots Chads. And the question is, what can they really get for this? It's still early in the game. They do bring back the XP lead. And they're going to go with this fortification camp over on the top side. And Bateau is going to try bringing down this wall on the bot side. And a lot of damage towards the wall in the mid lane as well. So overall, what they're going to do is they're going to utilize this pressure. They do have their 13 talents. They're also going to grab this elite support camp to get the bionic emitter. They're not able to get too much in terms of map pressure off of this, but they are able to get a lot of the map objectives off of this. And they are also able to get that XP lead back in their favor. So just like that, it is tied 10 to 10 in kills. Hots Chads showing that they can teamfight really well, even from a little bit of a deficit. And Nutcracker, on their own, mounts up right now, but does get cancelled by Cyanide. Cyanide able to do a lot of damage in the Raid of Vengeance into the dungeon. What is going to go through? And the Entombed spells out the death for Mathieu. Now D-Wit going to try and collect this mid wave. And as they also do take away their siege camp. And a little bit of a lull for now. The control point is unlocking in about 6 seconds. I see Hots Chad starting to get on top of their siege camp as well here. They're going to be able to finish this off. Once again, it'll be a little bit slower. But what they typically like doing, and I've noticed that this is something they do on purpose, they take those camps a little bit later. They are getting onto D-Wit. D-Wit taking a lot of damage. Will force to use the Wrecking Ball and the Groundbreaker to get him away. And Lead able to keep them all healthy. B-Fresh thrown away again. But unfortunately, because of that, DeWitt will be forced to die. The sacrificial lamb once again as he goes down. They were able to get 49% over on this objective point. But Hozchads will get the pressure once again. They will start capping on this point themselves. Now, one thing I haven't yet mentioned is it is the Hungering Arrow build going over for the Vala for the side of Hozchads. So this Vala is going to have a lot of burst damage coming in, especially once they get later into the game. Currently getting decent value out of this siege camp, while at the same time still continuing to shove away onto that objective. Both sides starting to group up near the top lane. And this is where the fight's going to come in. It is a very short 5v4, but it's also level 16 onto the side of Hozchads. And Lyle kind of, DeWitt trying to get caught, but now Lyles also gets thrown back, gets thrown into stasis by Memias, able to keep him alive. The turret is dealing as much damage as possible. Last rights onto Elio, not enough to get the last hit, but the Entomb does go down onto Vatio and Led. But Vatio and Led, or Befresh and Led, sorry, are able to deal a lot of damage. And they do get the black hole back onto DeWitt, but DeWitt is the tank, is trying to survive, but it will not be able to, but they do get a lot of kills back. Vatio does die. Elio, very low HP. Nutcracker taking a lot of damage from Cyanide. Cyanide just needs a little bit. As Befresh, kind of in the middle of everyone, but is able to get a lot of kills. Taz didn't go utilized now, but in the middle of the turret, gets knocked away, and the turret will be able to get the last hit onto Befresh. 3-4-2, one of the closest fights we've seen so far in this third map. But at the end of the day, the Hozchads are able to maintain this lead. Nutcracker trying to delay them, and in fact is going to get a lot of damage. Led not going to hit the stun. But Nutcracker is going to keep hitting on a Cyanide, who is being healed, but Cyanide will be able to get that kill. Led will also die. And just like that, they will be able to get the Protector. And they're going to march that straight into the top side. No forts have gone down yet. 12 minutes into the game. Hozchads will try and get this fort down first. They should be able to. It's a 12-minute objective, so it is quite strong as we do get later into the game. Just getting a little bit of poke down onto the enemy. They do disable the keep, but Befresh and DeWitt were able to zone them away. Cyanide trying to walk in, get the last little bit of damage needed onto the fort, but won't be able to get it. But one thing to note is Befresh was auto-attacking the Protector the entire time, and that counts for the stacks. So already maxed out on that, technically over at 44 stacks as well. And they do get the fort, and they do knock away Befresh, and DeWitt might be a little bit caught. There are a lot of members still left here. Getting the knock up onto DeWitt will be able to get away just in time. Less than 100 HP left on that. I thought I saw a fight breaking out of the bottom, but nothing's really happening. And I do want to look at this. After attacking hero 75 times, basic attack range hit by 1.1. And he did get every single one of these objectives of the quest rewards, but will still be continuing to get that permanent attack damage. So the later the game goes on, the more this Xul Gin will be able to bring out. As a Bionic Emitter does get picked up by Hozchad. Now DeWitt does get stunned up, knocked up, and killed in the middle of the entire team. Orb of Deception will get a little bit of damage done, but not enough. And just like that, another free kill going over to the side of Hozchads. No objectives to be taken, but the fortification camp is up. Already starting to group onto it, but it does look like Xul Gin Distillery, they still want to contest this even without their Garrosh. As a lot of damage coming out from Befresh with those double spinning axes. They were able to get the turret. All camps, aside from that camp, are now up. And they are grouping towards the bottom, but decide against it and will go just collect their camps. Gonna dot their I's and cross their T's, so slowly but surely they are able to get everything they need over here. As Ankle Shot, Befresh, and Led are going to take the siege camp over on their end. And once again, we see the siege camp is up, but they're not on it. They are delaying it for the objective. And what I expect to see is as soon as the objective starts spawning, once you see the 30 seconds until it spawns. As they do get a knock up over onto D-Wit. Uses the Unstoppable. And they do get so much value out of that Entombment Black Hole. D-Wit taking a lot of damage. Groundbreaker used onto Lyle, but that's not enough. Lyle still running in. Might have gone a little bit too deep, and in fact dies. Tries to swap HPs. They are able to knock away Memmius, but Memmius is underneath the tower. Memmius might still be in danger. Last rights utilized, but the heal able to come out last second as Nutcracker dies in the backline, and Be Fresh is trying to hit as much as possible, but he's in the middle of the tower. He does still have the Taz Dingo, so may be able to get away. They're not able to follow as thrown in and forced to use the Taz Dingo. They will force that out of Be Fresh, but will not be able to get the kill. But Batyr is going to be able to keep hitting onto this mid lane wall. And we'll stop right there. Cyanide, Memmius, just going to start grouping up towards this top side, also throwing it away. And as per usual, as the control point is unlocking, that's when they go and collect their siege camp. Us Chads, they have boiled this down to a science. They're a well-disciplined team. They know their strategy, and they're able to execute on it. So while they do make some mechanical mistakes early on in the game, it is really nice seeing just how organized they are and how well they play together as a team. They know their objectives and they're willing to do what they need for it. Abatir does get hit. Wraith walks out just to get over to the wave faster. They are starting to hit onto that wall. It is very dangerous to have walls with a Garrosh nearby, as he can Wrecking Ball you over those walls. It looks like he is trying to right now. Gets 2-man Groundbreaker. D-Quid going to Wrecking Ball the Alio right back into the back line. And Alio just kind of gets blown up. So much damage coming out from the side of Ankle Shot. And D-Quid will use the Wrecking Ball to keep Ankle Shot alive. So that is a kill going over for Xul Gin Distillery. And they did now hit level 20. So both sides now have their heroic talents unlocked. The fortification camp will get quickly picked up by the side of Hot's Chads. The control point is available, and they are down their tank, but they do have 2 turrets and the bionic emitter up. But Mementos does get hit down. They're getting a lot of DPS over onto D-Wit, as they do get the Caltrop vault charges onto Cyanide. Now, 4-man stun was vital to keeping Memmius alive, as they do get onto their own fortification camp. They are just stacking these deployables. Gonna block him with a wall, but Memmius gets blown up. And the bionic emitter is on the floor. Who's gonna take it? Cyanide is trying to survive. And Cyanide will go down as well. The bionic emitter and the turret, both free to be picked up. And just like that, everything is back for the side of Xul Gin Distillery. They now have the pressure. 21% onto the control point. They might be able to finish this off if they start moving towards it. Still 40 seconds before anyone spawns. Nutcracker getting jumped on in the middle. And the Entomb will get the kill. And just like that, it's a 4v3. Lyle is down here trying to save the fort, but gets absolutely blown up. That was like no damage at all. And Melthiel able to return as well. So that's 3 dead once again for the side of Hot's Chads, as everyone is still alive for Xul Gin Distillery. Both teams now, now this is where it starts getting intense, because Xul Gin Distillery, last game when they were in a position like this, for game 1 I should say, they were able to push this in all the way for that victory. So they are grouping together now. They are trying to get as much damage done onto this wall before the Protector is able to get here. Now Xul Gin walks into the Protector, and they're going to try and shove this in all the way into the keep. Now what I'm wondering is what their objective is going to be here. Are they going to go for the keep and then try to move it over towards mid? Because there still haven't been any forts taken in their mid or top side. They only have the fort in the bot side. But doesn't seem like they're even able to really approach it. D-Wood taking a lot of damage, stuck behind the wall. Able to use the Extendo Arm to get Batyr out of the way. As the Extendo Arm is what that's called for everyone who uses it. D-Wood does throw down the turrets, but the turret just going to get blown up by that keep very quickly. Not a lot of value out of it. Same could be said with the turret placed by Hot's Chads, as that will go down as well. And not a lot of value coming from this Protector. But one thing to know with this Protector is it does have a lot of damage. And speaking of a lot of damage has gone onto D-Wit. And we do see the Wrecking Ball coming onto Batyr, as they do have the knockback into their team. They do get the jump, the stun, the sleep. A lot of damage going on to D-Quid. And D-Wit does end up dying. So much DPS onto Ankle Shot and Lead now too. They will walk away with a protector, but they didn't get any value out of that. Barely even managed to damage the enemy fort. They were able to kill the wall beforehand, but with the protector itself, no damage being given onto anything. And now it's pushing the other way. Hots Chad's now going to use this timer and take out the wall from Xul Gin Distillery. 36 seconds on to DeWitt. Before that, Garrosh is able to come back and help out again. Extendo Arm not going to hit anyone. And both sides are now starting to group together. Eliel and Butya very low, so it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get any push here. However, they once again target that fortification camp. It is 45 as a very, very value poke coming in, and they may still try to contest this. They do get the stun into the black hole, but they're not able to follow it up. They do kill Led in the background, so Bruiser for healer, and Butya will be able to respawn faster. As that is one of the main advantages of Leoric. Even when you're dead, you're still playing, you're still able to utilize your abilities to be a nuisance and to get your respawn timer earlier. And the other advantage of that is on Leoric, you do not need to run back into the fight. You're already exactly where you want to be when you spawn. As both sides are now grouping towards a fortification camp of Hots Chads. The question is, who's going to make the first move? Who's going to push? Lyle taking a lot of DPS over from Angleshot. And Angleshot in a position, as we do have the assault on to DeWitt, but DeWitt taking a lot of damage, and DeWitt is going to get taken down again. Cyanide running over towards Angleshot, able to land the Hungry Arrow. Gonna get a decent amount of poke on to Angleshot, but not enough to get the kill. Be Fresh is getting stuck. And that conveyor belt is what did him in. Oh, and now the silence going through on Angleshot. Not going to be able to survive. Or will he? Angleshot trying to run away, but no. Lyle will be able to get the hit. And just like that, there's 3 dead. And this could be the game. They're going to try and push. Nutcracker is up. And they do have Lead. But Nutcracker is on the Malthil. A lot of AoE damage. Last Rites is still available. Memmius, I believe, is able to prevent the Last Rites with their own ultimate, but 2 turrets placed immediately, cleared away just as quickly, and Lead is getting slept on by Elias. And we do see Nutcracker goes back to tap. A little bit of a difficult position. They do get knocked away by the massive Extendo Arms, but they will be able to end this game, and the series and map number 3 goes over to the Hots Chads. And just like that, this third map of the day is over. Hots Chads will be able to take that victory 2-1 in their favor. They lost the game 1, and the start of game 2 and the start of game 3 all looked really rough for Hots Chads. And having watched both of these teams, I would really like to see Hots Chads kind of work on their early game. Just work a little bit on their laning phase. Because once they get into the team fights, they are absolute monsters. And I have a feeling if they're able to not fall behind early, they will be able to team fight their way to victory much, much more consistently. Now we are going to go on a break for about half an hour. But after that, we are continuing on with a second series from the Nexus League. So if you're here for some NGS action, don't go anywhere. Don't go away. And in half an hour, we will have that game coming to your broadcast here. I believe there is a Div B game or something going on Raka's channel. So if you'd rather watch that, be sure to check that out as well. And finally, before I do go on this extended break, big shout out once again to AFK Journey for sponsoring this stream. Please download the game and reach the milestones you will see on the versus screen in a couple moments to help support this stream. I'm still new-ish to NGS, but I do plan on consistently casting as many games as I can. I believe I've already casted... This will be my 5th or 6th series, the second one that we're going to be doing today, in the last week. And I hope to keep that number growing. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in about half an hour for series number 2.